It's a beautiful bluebird day here in the historic city of Salzburg. The sun is shining, there's not a cloud in the sky, it's warm enough without being too hot. It's 7:45 a.m., I've had breakfast, walked about 3k into town, and am now waiting for the bus. Already today I have received a birthday cake from the staff at 90 House and have had birthday wishes from all the other residents, before everyone sets off on their planned excursions for the bank holiday weekend. Personally, I'm going to Bad Ischl to see my folks. Hopefully the weather holds and we can get a nice walk in followed by an ice cream or a coffee and cake combo. I got to the bus station a bit early as I wanted to get a strawberry milkshake to pass the time with. I do love a strawberry milkshake, but they are a bit high in calories, so I saved them for a special occasion. Today seemed like an appropriate day for one. So I popped into McDonald's, ordered one on their touchscreen machines and went to the desk to collect it. Now, in fairness to the cashier, she was right, I wasn't wearing my mask. I had forgot to put it on when I entered the building. She quite rightly said, in broken German, "Mask. You need mask." Okay, that's fair. I took my rucksack off, rummaged through the contents until I found it, pulled it out, did my bag back up again, put the mask on, and turned to face her again. At which point she said, "Sorry, we have no milkshake. Machine is broken." I can't help but feel she could have either updated the touchscreen so it was not possible to order milkshakes, or just said the machine was broken when I walked up to the desk, rather than make me struggle to find my mask before she told me about the breakdown. Once I got to Bad Ischl, the bright blue skies had gone, sadly. In BI it was just cold and grey. A very uninspiring day if I'm honest. But it was nice to see my folks. Dad picked me up from the station and we set off around town for a bit of a walk. Because Bad Ischl is so very small, you can walk from one side of the town center, right out to the other side of the town and back in 45 minutes, even if you're just put along. We stopped on the way back for a coffee and a morning bosna. A bosna is 2 bratwurst in a roll, covered in chili sauce and curry powder. Absolutely wonderful second breakfast. After a bit of discussion we have decided to go for a curry this evening. Which will be nice. I don't think we have had a curry together in the 9 years or so that I've been in Austria, and for my folks it's 13 years. Not because my folks don't like curry, but just because the nearest curry house is in Salzburg. Here's hoping we can get a seat. Sunday. Our first curry out as a family in years was an absolute delight. Starters, mains, and drinks for 3 people came in at about €25 a head. It was delicious. And more than that, it was just a wonderful way to spend a Saturday evening. You forgot you were sitting in Salzburg, you could easily be sitting on the Wellingborough Road, in the Rajput, on a dark winter's evening. I know that doesn't sound as good as being in Salzburg on a summer's day, but strangely, for this one thing, it is. I loved every single second, and I think my folks did too. For breakfast I was lucky enough to have been given some cheese by Owen. Both strong English cheddars, which are then covered in chili jam, and then smoked. The result is a cheese with a wonderfully complex flavor. And I've got to be honest, fun though it would be to talk trash about my little brother's attempts at artisanal cheesemaking, I can't. It's really good. Not too much chili, so it's accessible for non-chili heads, and not so much smoke that it tastes like the remnants of a bonfire. All in all, possibly the best cheese I've ever eaten. Obviously I'm not going to tell him that, but it really is very, very good. Next year he hopes for a small amount of a specialist proper hot cheese using self-made extract. Something to look forward to. I had some on its own and then had some on bread with some of my mum's chili jam. Which is always lovely and lively. This summer's batch looks on course to be a belter as she is growing California Reapers, and Trinidad Scorpions. It's going to be all sorts of epic, when combined with Owen's cheese. The other thing that's happened in the last 24 hours is I spoke with my brother Craig for the first time in years. Randomly I found out that just days after I had dyed my hair blonde to cover my gray, he had too. So I thought I would send him a picture of Mum, Dad and me, complete with peroxide blonde hair, at the curry house. To my surprise and relief he responded. Which means that after a few years away, I'm back on speaking terms with more than 50% of my family. This is sadly one of the downsides of being seriously mentally ill. It affects your behavior sometimes, and this can annoy people. As a wise man once said, the hardest part about having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. With this being a bank holiday weekend, there is really no much going on to write about. Today has been a cycle of exercise, eating and sleeping. All the while listening to Radio Fabric, which is, as it's Whitsunday, playing German hard house and techno. Which I am personally loving. Right back at the start of this diary I said I didn't care much for being locked inside mental institutions against me will. As there is not much going on today, I will explain a bit more clearly. But not so clearly as to get myself or anyone else in trouble. Let's start with the obvious things. If your grub on reality goes bad, you start taking instructions from the voices for whatever reason, the police and ambulance come and ask you to go to hospital. If you refuse their kind offer, you get jumped by the policeman, handcuffed and taken against your will. Now, let's have a pop quiz. If you are hallucinating enough that you are taking instructions from the voices and then men dressed in black carrying guns turn up at your house and jump on you, how would you react? The punishment for assaulting a police officer is 3 months in prison. I know this for a very specific reason. Once you arrive in hospital, you have a catheter inserted and you are then tied to a table for about 3 days. Not everyone is as kind and friendly as you would hope from doctors and nurses. Some people take advantage of someone being unable to defend themselves. Not all people are good people. This has meant I have had a real reluctance to reach out for help when I have needed it. Luckily this time I'm in with some good people. Right, that's it for today. Tomorrow should be fun. Bis dann.